All right, let's take a look at some of the film that you pulled, some of the video that you pulled here. And this is one of the things that you and I have talked about. These are easy yards for an offense.
So I used to call this a gift or a fire screen. And basically what it is that Jets are going to run zone up to the right. And everybody's running zone except for the quarterback and Elijah Moore here. So the Jets are going to get an 8-man box from the Patriots because they're in 12 or 21 personnel. So instead of running into a hard look there, he's just going to take a little fire screen, a little alert screen here. And this is an easy 14 yards. And these little look screens, they're attached to the run game. So when I think about the Browns running their gap and their outside zone schemes, it's very easy just to attach this. Put them in the slot, run those RPOs. Nothing changes for anybody. The offensive line doesn't have to pass protect. No one's doing anything different. The only two people that know are the quarterback and the receiver. This is what he brings. Breaks a tackle, gets 14 yards. This is a classic example of easy yards where the Browns would block that and they would block it well and they get 4 to 6 yards. This is an easy 14 yards without having to do much.
Yeah, and you see there, even if that initial guy makes the tackle at the line of scrimmage, he's going to fall forward and get 4 yards. And 4 yards on it was 2nd and 5, so you're looking at a 3rd and 1. Those are the kind of things that you and I had talked about. Kind of the Browns needing is find somebody that can get you 4 or 5 yards just by getting the ball to them in space.
Well, the thing that guys do like that, like the Tyreek Hill, these guys are eye candy, and I used to term it as eye candy in terms of the defense is going to have to locate them on every single snap. So whether you run a jet sweep or throw these little look screens or run option routes or whatever you're going to do with these slot receivers who are good in space, the defense has to account for them. So every time they move, the defensive eyes go to these guys. And whether they make the play or not, it's the idea that the defense is going to have to account for them. And usually when they're accounting for them, their feet aren't moving. And if their feet aren't moving, then they can get blocked inside in the run game. It just adds something. If you look at the Rams and the 49ers, all this motion and movement, that's all to kind of get the defense to, have their eye candy so they're not focused on what they should be focusing on.
All right, let's take a look at the second clip that we have here. Tell us what you see on this one with Moore.
Well, the reason I like this, I broke down a bunch of film. So this is a classic boot or waggle that the Browns foundation of Stefanski's pass game. So this is actually the second level. You're going to see the tight end on the flat. And the thing about Elijah Moore is he can run all 3 levels. So you have a guy who can get into the flat, can be like a running back. He can catch the second level here, which is a drag. He can also be the guy over top. He can run all the route tree. But this is a classic slot route or tight end route. Either one can run it. And you've seen Njoku a bunch of times. This is the second level of their basic level scheme. This is a scheme everybody runs. Stefanski runs it as well as anybody in the NFL. And he's a guy who can run all 3 levels. So I really like this. You see him in college and in the pros. He's been at all 3 levels, something the Browns really need.
And you see how wide open he is there. Imagine the Browns running that with David Njoku as the tight end at that. So he's going to get even more attention than either Tyler Kroft or whomever the Jets had at tight end. All right.
Absolutely. And that run game opens it all up. So
let's take a look at the third one. Another different way that you can use Elijah Moore.
So you see him up here at the top of the 50-yard line. As the play runs again, you'll see it's a whip route. So this would actually be this is a pass route, a drop back. But this would actually be the type of route he would run on the levels concept if he was the bottom level. And again, you can get lined up against a linebacker. He's very, very, very good space. So he puts his foot in the ground. He's going to run an explosive whip route. And it's not a huge gain, but it's enough. And once again, it's easy yards. It's an easy throw. He breaks the tackle here. He gets the first down. It's 3rd and 5. He's very good on these little under routes, these little option routes. Again, he puts such stress on the defense because of his raw speed. And with David, with Peoples-Jones and then Mark Cooper, this slot the Browns got is he's going to be very, very productive for the Browns. And this is a classic route he'll run for the Browns. A little whip route on a backer or a strong safety, and it's going to be very tough to cover.
Yeah, and you see some of the change of direction there, which he's not really known for, but if you put a linebacker trying to cover him, you see the result there. Again, this is a guy that fits with what you and I had hoped the Browns would go out and find.
Yeah, he's that guy in space. He's that slot receiver in space that's going to get you easy yards. He can do so many different things. He's not a stop and start guy. He's a sudden burst guy. And I kind of looked at his 40 time and his three cone shuttle and his 20-yard shuttle, and those are all at the 90% or above. So he gives you that elite short area burst, which is what you need. He does have raw top end speed, straight line speed with the 4.35, but he's even better. He gets the top speed really quick, and that's going to be so helpful when you're running those RPOs and those jet sweeps and those option routes and those under routes. Again, his change of direction is very good. So you think, again, with the Browns now with Watson, they're going to have scramble drills. So there's a lot he's going to do getting the ball in space that's going to help Cleveland.
Yeah, and the other thing, the fourth and final clip we'll look at is another thing that you've talked about, the motion, the jet sweep.
So this is my eye candy. So every time he comes in motion, so all you got to do is run this once. So this is a 12-yard pickup. This is not a huge gain. This is not a touchdown. But what this does, now it's on high alert for defense. So all week during defense meetings, you got to locate more. You got to locate him on the jet sweeps. Now, everything that's run off jet sweeps is now available. So every time he goes in motion, the Browns could be running a gap scheme or a counter scheme, and those linebackers are now looking at the motion. And when you're looking at the motion, your feet aren't moving, and then you block easier. So what he does, he gives you a great gadget play here. It's just a little jet sweep, but now he becomes a priority for the defense during their meetings all week and trying to locate. And when you're doing that, you're not working on the run game with Chubb or stopping Amari Cooper outside or Njoku. So he just adds so much work for a defense during the week. A lot of people don't understand. This guy causes a defensive coordinators big headaches because of all the different things he's going to do.
Yeah, and the other thing that he gives you, and I agree with you, I think the Browns are going to play him predominantly in the slot just because they need that. He can flip outside because of that straight line speed, and he can be a problem where defenses have to locate if you move him from the slot outside.
Yeah, he runs the entire route tree, and that was his time at Ole Miss. Ole Miss did a great job of putting him wherever they needed to, whatever route was available, depending on the coverage you're going to see. There's easy ways, not easy ways, but there's certain ways you can get people off press coverage. His size, at times, he can get pressed because of the corner's length and height in the NFL. But you can keep him on the move. You can make him a Z receiver, which means he'll be off the ball, which makes him a lot harder to jam. He can be on the move. You're right. He can play 1, 2, or 3 strong. He can run the entire route tree from both the slot and the outside. He's got a lot of upside for the Browns.